What was your best birthday experience? Much older than 18, but when I turned 30, my sister and I went shopping. It happened to be a Saturday, and Saturday shopping was a regular thing for us at the time. Get out early and come home early. I was kind of grumpy that day and was ready to go home, but she wouldn't take me home. What the frick, sissy, I'm over it and I want to go home. I fussed and she came up with excuses, but I persisted, and that went on because I'm a grown woman and I want to go home. Darn it. So then she pulled the sister card and starts telling me that she's feeling blue, doesn't want to be alone, and can't we just go get lunch or something and hang out a little? Oh, for frick's sake, yes, of course we can go get lunch. I was so difficult. Finally she takes me home, but doesn't just drop me off. Oh geez, she is super needy today. I think I have something with sugar to offer. Patience. I opened the door and saw all the decorations a split second before surprise. I turned and looked at my sister, the designated distractor, and she'd been waiting all day to say, "You're a pain in the butt." My 18th birthday. I thought everyone had forgotten, so I was trying to make plans with any of my friends. They all said, "Sorry, busy, maybe tomorrow." I was really frustrated. So I went to a friend's house, the only one available, and then my mom called me saying she was feeling sick and all. I was like, okay, that's it. This is the worst day of my life. My friend's mom drove me home to see what was happening to my mom. I got there, and there were all of my friends, my parents, my family, and a real size electric guitar cake. Best night ever. Real size electric guitar cake. My mom did the same thing for me. I was working for a very well-known musical instrument store. You might call it the middle of guitars. I had to work on my birthday, no way around it. Halfway into my shift, I'm about to make the fast walk up the block to McDonald's, the only option for food other than bringing from home, when my mom and my then girlfriend show up with a gosh darn full-sized Stratocaster cake. Apparently she'd called my manager and arranged it because the whole store staff came over, surprisingly enthusiastically sang happy birthday, and then shared cake with me and the dozen-ish customers in the store at the time. So yeah, guitar cakes are awesome. Especially when the tuning knobs are gumdrops. When I was a kid I had a tiny 9-inch television in my room that I had my Super Nintendo hooked up to. On my 12th birthday I was having a sleepover with a bunch of friends, so my dad let me hook up the SNES to our 32-inch TV downstairs. I walked in from school to find my dad playing Super Mario World on the TV, and it was freaking glorious. Mario looked life-size compared to before, and the colors were amazing. I was blown away. I still very vividly remember watching him play in the forest level with the angry caterpillars. Then later that night my friends and I stayed up all night eating pizza and having Street Fighter 2 tournaments. I can't imagine any birthday being able to match that now. That's sick. I'm a dad of a now teenager. He loves when I play games with him, or just on my own, and we can talk about it. Currently we are on a serious Pokemon binge. We drive all over the place and meet up with other people and battle. It's pretty fun, but for me it's the memories. It sounds like you have a great dad. My 6th birthday. My dad was a software engineer working in the UK at the time. His company acquired another company and sent him there under the guise of it being a temporary assignment, but they kept extending it much to his displeasure. My parents had just divorced and my mom was working long hours to keep up with bills, so the timing was bad and things were generally pretty rough. My birthday weekend fell in the middle of my dad's stint in the UK. Without telling his boss, he flew back to spend the weekend with me. We are from California, so it was a 10-hour flight. This also happened to be 4th of July weekend, so he took me, my sister, and my grandparents to the family cabin deep in wine country to celebrate. Friday, we had pizza and cake and I opened presents, the marquee gift being a gigantic Super Soaker that I'd be pining for months. Saturday, I got to run around, play catch with my dad, and shoot my sister with the Super Soaker. Sunday we went swimming in a nearby creek and later watched the fireworks our neighbors sent off. I just remember it being the pinnacle of carefree childhood fun. My dad risked his job and traveled thousands of miles to make it happen, which I'll never forget. This is the most beautiful one yet. My mom and dad divorced very early in my life, Well, before I was 2 years old, after their divorce, my mom did the typical single mother thing and worked crazy long hours to make ends meet. Zero financial support from her ex-husband, my dad. As a kid, while I was content, I was pretty lonely growing up. After several years of living like this, my mom met this single guy with 2 kids my age. Literally, we were all born the same year, fell in love and got married. They didn't do a fancy church wedding. They went down to the courthouse and got a marriage license and then came straight home. We packed up the truck that afternoon and headed to the beach for a 3-day camping trip. The day they got married was my 6th birthday. I was just thrilled to have a dad and a brother and a sister. What blew me away that evening was a surprise birthday cake, party, and presents at the beach next to a campfire on the shores of Lake Superior. That birthday, those feelings, those smells, and images will probably be with me the rest of my life. That guy my mom married would later go on and adopt me. Best day ever. Glad to hear that. I'm happy for you. That sounds like the best birthday ever. Your situation sounds like what my uncle and his now fiance and soon to be wife are going through. Last month we took a week-long trip to the Florida Keys and he pulled out the ring while we were out celebrating her birthday. They also have a child on the way due in September, but she also has a 9-year-old daughter. I'm not sure what exactly the situation is, but he's adopting her because her biological father never signed her birth certificate. Awesome. 6th birthdays were cool. My mom and dad set up this Olympic themed birthday for my 6th, where me and all of my friends would compete in a bunch of different sports and won candy and little trophies. It was like my own little backyard Olympics. We never had a lot of money growing up, but my birthdays were always memorable, and I will cherish that. My birthday is in that month, where we always have final examinations, so, since beginning I never really had a proper birthday party. It was mainly cutting a cake with mum and dad, and then studying the whole night, since I had exams the next day. My friends hardly ever wished me cause they were always so tensed about exams. I don't blame them. This year on my 17th birthday I had my chemistry practical exams and I wasn't expecting much on my birthday as usual. I prepared for my Viva the whole night. No one called, went to give my practical, and came back home. As soon as I was going to take a nap my friend calls and he says come outside. I went outside my house and literally all of my friends were there with balloons and 3 cakes and presents. I cut the cake, then they all took me to this cafe that they all contributed and booked for my birthday party. We had delicious food, great conversation, and at last I gave a cheesy cliché speech on how thankful I'm to have each one of them as my friend, and I'll never forget this day. At the end it got kinda happy emotional, so we had a group hug. Thank you guys. Thank you for making me feel special. My birthday is always the first or second week of schools, and it was the same way. I've never liked my birthday. One year in middle school had literally no one come, and I cried the whole night. My friends in college knew this and threw me a semi-surprise party our second year. My birthday was on Moving Day our first year, so no one knew. But we played Red Rover and other silly kid games all night, which was so much fun to make up for the kid parties I missed. The only other memorable ones, too, were when I started grad school out of state and turned 21. My roommate, who was assigned, moved in that day and we had nothing. We went and got Panda Express and Smirnoff Ice sitting on the floor in our very empty apartment. It was a surprisingly fun and silly way to celebrate my 21st. And my freshman year in high school we had a field trip to a ropes course on my birthday. I was picked on by the staff when they found out it was my birthday and the chosen one when it came to picking things or getting to be the one to try things first. This year I have a staff retreat for work on my birthday. We will see what happens. 18th birthday. Had a home basketball game, and every time I went to get out of the shower like 3 people would throw soap at me. It was funny at first, but after like the 5th time it was kind of annoying. Finally me and my friend were the last to leave the locker room. He offered me a ride home, and when we walked into my house it was just my parents in the kitchen. Then like 35 people jumped out and surprised me. It was amazing, and I was actually very surprised. Afterwards, they told me they kept throwing soap at me so my girlfriend could finish getting everything ready. It was a blast. I like how the only thing they could think of was to hurtle things at you. I like how the only thing they could think of was to yeet things at you. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more videos like this. Don't forget to leave your stories in the comments below.